G'day viewers, this is Troy from Troy's Visual Arts channel. Here's my new set of hunt videos for my next metal detecting compile. Yeah, it's been, I don't know, probably over a month since I last done a hunt. But anyway, I'm back at it again, and I also now got a car finally. 2010 Hyundai iX35, so I'm pretty happy about that. And now go wherever and go hunting without being restricted by time due to it taking longer to go from A to B on a bike. Anyhow, I'm just hunting a local park I've hunted many times before. I'm going to concentrate going south the park and going down the nature strip line. I've actually got downloaded an old photo of this area from the 30s, and it actually used to be like paddock pretty much with cows and all that. Anyhow, I'm hoping to find some good stuff this early evening. It's 6 p.m. Going to probably hunt for about an hour or two. See how I go. Found the first interesting target. Okay viewers, my first non-trash find of the day. So I've only found just a few pieces of trash so far. A brown bugger, 2-cent piece. First corn of the day as well. Looks like it's been hit with the council mower. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, got a large size target that read about 35. Yeah, I was digging and was expecting, okay, big ass metal plate, alright. But then I looked further inwards and we've got ourselves another brown bugger. No, I've got a $2 coin. So hey, that's good. $2 richer. Thought it was a brown bugger for a sec, 2-cent piece. So how cool is that? So now I'm going to dig this big ass plate out. Who knows, there might be some more coins in it. But it'd be cool, really cool if it was. But yeah, beautiful. First goldie of the day. And I've got to dig this plate out and find out what it is. Okay viewers, got the big ass, turns out to be a big sheet of metal, probably aluminium by the looks of it. So that's out now. But yeah, I wouldn't have bothered filming it if that $2 coin wasn't on top. Anyhow, so yeah, big ass sheet of aluminium. I'm going to swing over this area again and see if there is anything else. If anything else of interest pops out, I will video it. Otherwise, see you in the next target. Okay viewers, heading a bit south now, along the nature strip, going down the highway. Just found an old Redhead's match pack. It's not that old because it's got a barcode on it, but still, it's kind of cool. One of my more unusual finds. Anyway, see you next one. Okay viewers, just still heading down the highway, nature strip. Haven't really found anything but trash, but yeah, I found this interesting plate. It's a bit difficult to read, even the camera pointed at it. But it's some kind of plate off I guess some piece of maybe machinery or something. Or electrical appliance of some sort, industrial grade I guess. Okay, looks like a surge diverter, I think that's what it is. Yeah, I think that's what it's supposed to say, surge diverter. Anyway, yeah, not in more than one of the more interesting junk finds, I'd say. Alright, so next one. Okay viewers, I'm pretty much finding dog shit nothing around here. Really disappointing, but I pretty much expected it. But it's, as the old saying goes, you just got to give pretty much everywhere a go. You just never know. Anyway, just found one of the more interesting pieces of trash. Some kind of cap plate thing with some stamping on it. I mean, it's nothing much, but it's, I guess, interesting enough to film, I suppose. curiosity. Alright, well anyway, I'm pretty much going to finish up very shortly and just head on home. It's getting on to 8. If I find anything else interesting, see you on the next target, otherwise see you on the next hunt. Okay viewers, it's been roughly a week since my last hunt in my first set of new hunts I'm doing for the next video compile. Right now I am literally out in the sticks. I'm just below some new estate area, so I'm working my way down to an area near one of the main roads in my suburb. That there used to be an old house there. Problem is I can't access from the roadside, so I'm accessing from the bush side. So I'm working my way down. There's some fencing up there to block off that foliage up there. Up the top there is new estate. But anyway, I've just got a signal here. It's sort of bouncing around the 20s. I'm going to dig it and see what it is. I won't be doing a live dig because it's just annoying trying to juggle my phone cam and dig at the same time. But anyway, going to dig up this 20-something item and see what I get. And I'll report back in the next video. Okay viewers, so the object's just down here. May as well dig it live, seeing it's not much of a dig. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so I've just found myself an old bullet. Well, it looks like a bullet anyways, bullet head. Yeah, I can imagine this area as would have been popular bushland for, I guess, game hunting, I suppose. Yeah, it's cool that I found this. I was expecting a little bit of junk, but in this area of the woods where there's nothing, you wouldn't expect anything too new. Yeah, it looks like it's been fired, as I can see the grooves, the barrel grooves in the bullet head. Yeah, cool find. See you on the next target. There viewers, just spotted this. This was quite interesting. I guess a shell from a caterpillar or something. I don't know exactly whether it's a moth, whether the caterpillar's fallen into a moth or whatever, or butterfly, I don't know. I'm guessing this is a caterpillar shell. I'll have to take a photograph and Google up and find out. It's amazing what you can find out with Google Lens. Alright, see you next target. Okay viewers, just found out this is actually a shell of a witchetty grub. And they hatch into wood moths. Never really knew that, but anyway, yeah. So that's interesting trivia to learn. Looks kind of menacing, the shell does. Alright, see you next target. Okay viewers, couldn't quite get through that forest to get to the area that I wanted to go, so I've just moved on, just now hunting around an old fig tree in a small little parkland in this new estate area. Anyway, I know there used to be an old house here once upon a time, and the house was located somewhere around where that property is, and there used to be like a shed down that way. I've hunted here before, found nothing, but decided to hunt here again now that I've got a Equinox 800. Yeah, just found a brown bugger, which was a bit of a damn moment because it's the only good signal I got here. Oh, guess any coin's better than no coin. So yeah, I'm just going to hunt around this area for a bit and then move on to another small park it's about a block over. See you next one. Okay viewers, I think I might have found an old pill container. Back in the day, yeah, they kind of came in either bottles or metal canisters like this. So that's my guess what this is. Yeah, I'm going to be going very shortly because I'm required back at home. So I'm just going to hunt a little bit along here and then head off. See you next one. Okay viewers, not sure if you can hear me well over the wind, but here I am, next day from my last hunt. I'm just out at a headland area in my region. Yeah, just dropped off a bunch of old videotapes to someone who wanted them because I'm doing a bit of decluttering. And I thought while I'm at it, go out and do some hunting around one of the headlands out this way. So yeah, I'm just hunting along this rocky outcrop area. Yeah, yesterday's hunt was pretty dismal. Just a brown bugger and a bullet. Also kind of got stung by some big leaf tree thing, which wasn't cool. Thankfully it's not a gimpy. I think it could be like a giant stinger tree or something like that. That's all good now. Anyhow, just found my first somewhat interesting target. I don't know what this is, but it could be some kind of latch lever thingy. Not that significant, but it's better than the bloody little sinkers I've just been finding. Anyhow, I'm guessing it's something that levers up and down sort of thing. Alright, anyway, gonna hunt around here for an hour or two, see what I can find. See the next target. Hey viewers, found a piece of crockery. It's probably, looks like it's not all that old. Could be homemade too, with the artwork on it. There's also another piece over here. Looks like someone's got used a silver coloured texture of some sort and just squiggled patterns and numbers and letters on it or something. Kind of interesting, but yeah, not old like I hope it would be. Not old china. Whatever. Anyway, interesting find. See you next one. Alright viewers, after probably a good 45 minutes of hunting, finally found me a relic. An old spoon, or spoon part of the spoon anyway, the handle's missing. But yeah, it's definitely an old spoon of sorts. Definitely looks like it's made before 1950. Alright, so yeah, there's relics to be found around here. Just gonna have to really search hard. Hopefully I might find some other cool stuff. Hope I might find old coins. Who knows? I might find some. But yeah, not a bad find. See you next one. Hey viewers, just working my way around the rocky outcrop here. Not really finding much around here, apart from that spoon. Haven't found anything else old. Just been finding bloody ugly bits of molten, I guess, aluminium. It's molten into clumps and reading up as high into the 30s, which is kind of pissing me off. But anyway, oh, it's nice to be out here anyway. Just enjoying the sea breeze. Beautiful afternoon. Can't complain. Happy I can finally come out to the beach again. Now I've got my car back. Well, now I've got a new second-hand car. Anyway, found some metal object with some numbers on it. Nothing significant. I thought I'd film it anyway. Yeah, gonna hunt for another half hour more, and then I guess I ought to get back home. Made it home. Alright, see you next one. Hey viewers, hunting the reserve land now, above the the rocky area. Just found me an old Shelley's bottle cap, green lime flavour. I'd say it's from the 60s, I'd imagine. Yeah, sadly it's probably one of the most interesting finds of the day, apart from that big old spoon head. Yeah, not really finding much around here, just mostly big clumps of slag metal. Yeah, I'm only going to hunt for another 20 more minutes and I'm out of here. See you next one. Okay viewers, found this electrical device, probably an automotive electric device. It's yeah, it's got plus and negative on it. I don't know if it's some kind of battery or what, but it says 12 volt. I think it just says 12 volt on there. It could be some form of battery. I don't know. I'll clean it off later on and find out details on this thing. It's kind of interesting. Or I could take a photo and see if Google can match up any images. It's made by Lucas, so I'd say this is probably the most interesting find of the day now. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I'm going to take a bet this is some kind of battery. Alright, see you in the next one. Okay viewers, just yeah, uploaded the image. I took a couple of photos, uploaded one of them to Google, and it quickly identified this as an ignition coil used in a classic vehicle to convert a low voltage from the battery into a high voltage for an ignition spark. So yeah, that's what it is, ignition coil for a vintage automobile. Pretty cool. I'll have to look up what kind of automobiles use these. Yeah, and even recognise the Lucas brand as well. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing what can be done with Google image search these days. Just upload an image and you're very likely to get an idea on what you've found. Cool. Alright, so next one. Alrighty viewers, don't know if you can hear me over this wind, but first coin find of the day, and it's a goldie. $1. Nice. Yeah, I wasn't going to dig this target because it sounded a bit wide and chunky, but my hunch said dig it, and sure enough, it turned out to be a goldie. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, I'm going to hunt a little bit along this top of the reserve land, and then yeah, call it a day. See you next one if I find anything good. Okay viewers, second coin find of the day, a rather chopped up brown bugger, 2-cent piece, hit by a council mower. Anyway, see you next one. Hey viewers, a couple of rubbish targets, but kind of interesting I guess. Some bottle cap, looks pretty old, and a billabong tag. Not much, but I'm just filming for content's sake. Yeah, I'm just going to finish up here in a minute. It's already past 7. I'm required to be at home. Just bloody annoying, but anyway. I'm going to just hunt for a few more minutes and then get out of here. If I find anything, send the next target. Alrighty viewers, another goldie. $2 now. Another $1 coin. Alright, just going to hunt my way down to my car and I'm off. See our next target if there's anything on the way. Okay viewers, it's a couple of days later and I'm just hunting around further north from where I live. Hunting a kind of a rock pool area. So you've got a swimming pool there. You've got remnants of a really old pool that's, well, it was probably put there in the 30s and has been in disuse probably since the 70s maybe. Yeah, I haven't been finding much at all here, not a single coin, just mostly sinkers and a bit of yeah, but just a bit of can slaw. But yeah, I found this thing. This is looks kind of weird. It looks like it's shaped like a spoon and whatnot. I don't know whether this is meant to be a sinker or someone's home craft with lead. Oh, well, being here, it'd more than likely be a sinker, more like a homemade sinker of some sort. A very unusual one. Yeah, I'm just going to be working my way up to that reserve land there, up that hillside, and then probably head off home. So it's well past 7 o'clock, and dinner will probably be ready sometime after 8. But yeah, I'm just going to give this area a go around and see what I can find. I'll see our next target. Okay viewers, at the hillside now. Just dug me a pretty old can. I can see a D and an L. I think this is probably a UDL vodka mix type drink. It's got cola written, so it's probably vodka and coke, I guess, if it is UDL. UDL is pretty much like a mixed vodka drink brand. Still going today. It's got the old ring pull top, so I date this can to the 1970s or 1980s. Yeah, pity it's all broken up. Be nice if it was in decent condition. Alright, I'm going to carry on a little longer. It's sprinkling now. The rain's starting to get a little bit more intense, so I'm not going to be hunting much longer. Alright, let's see how we go before I have to leave. Okay viewers, it's the next day and I'm hunting a piece of land area where there once stood a house, pretty much in this spot around here. Probably a farmhouse or something like that. On the old aerial imagery there was like this one house and a big lot of land behind, so I'm guessing it must have been a farmhouse. Anyway, up until recent years this area was fenced off. Now it's pretty much open, and there's no private property signs, so yeah, I'm giving this area a go, see if I can find anything old. Anyhow, I've just dug my first interesting target. Looks like it could be from a car or something, I don't know, but that looks like some kind of washer thingy. Got no idea what this is. Might take a photograph and upload it to Google and see if I can get something on it, but yeah, it's interesting. Still junk, I guess, but it's old junk. Alright, anyhow, let's see how we go. See our next target. Alright viewers, first of the more interesting relics, an old spoon, completely intact. That's pretty cool. Pity it ain't a silver spoon, but still, nice old spoon. It'd have hallmarks and stuff, I'd say, on the back and all that, but I have to just clean the dirt off to read them. Can't be bothered at the moment. Anyhow, pretty cool find. See you in the next one. Okay viewers, just found an old cream tube. Looks like, I don't know, 60s vintage maybe 70s vintage, I don't know. Alright, don't know exactly what the brand is, it's a bit too dirty, but yeah. Alright, see you next one. Hey viewers, dug this handle, which is probably off a dresser drawer maybe, I don't know. Say it's probably mid-century vintage. It's kind of like got chromium plating on it, which is peeling off. Anyway, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, I've found a penny. Now, this rang up about 1920, so there's a possibility it could be an old English, because bronze brings up that low. Then again, it could also be a Commonwealth penny. So let's see what this could be. Just got to give it a bit of a clean up. Bear with me. Don't particularly want to rub it on the shorts. So. But anyway, I'm just going to stop camera, give it a bit of a clean up, and I'll get back to you on exactly what sort of a penny it is. Alright viewers, it's a Commonwealth penny and the date is 1912. That's pretty cool. I was kind of hoping it'd be in Old English, but I'm still happy. It's been a while since I found a commie penny dated 1912. It'd be nice if it was a key date, but oh, it's a nice early coin. I'm really happy. It's 113 years old. Beautiful. Alright, see you next target. Okay viewers, found some kind of plate thing with 2 screw holes on the end. It's got nothing, I can't see anything printed, stamped or engraved on this plate, so I don't know yet what it is. I'll have to give it a clean up and find out, but kind of an interesting find. Alright, see you next one. Alright viewers, got a really high signal of 35 to 37. Dug this thing up. I'm not sure what to make of what this is. I don't know if it's a knob off a drawer. I don't know if it's a wheel off a toy vehicle of some sort or toy train. Doesn't exactly look like a train wheel. That's how it looks like on the underside. But yeah, it's an interesting find. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, found what looks like to me a vintage electrolytic capacitor. Or it could be a battery, I'm not sure. It looks more like a electrolytic capacitor. It could be neither, I'm not sure. Anyhow, see you next one. Hey viewers, just dug a massive padlock made by Lockwood, and I don't think it's all that old, but it's probably made within the last 70 years sometime, I'm guessing. Yeah, bashed off pretty much most of the rust that's off the lock itself. Otherwise it's not in too bad a shape. Alright, see you next one. Alright viewers, pretty much not far from the padlock, just found an old belt buckle and an old little jar or bottle, whatever you call it. It's made by the AGM, so that logo dates anywhere between 1930 and 1980, so that's the period this jar or bottle was made. It's probably could have been a pill bottle, maybe an ink well, I don't know. Doubt it's an ink well. It's probably more like a pill bottle or medicine bottle or something. Anyway, pretty cool find. See you next one. Okay viewers, just found an IXL bottle cap. I assume this is off a bottle of tomato sauce, as there is an IXL tomato sauce brand. Alright, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, just found my second predecimal here. A 1941 roux half penny. Not bad. Yeah, it's got a bit of copper cancer to it. It's typical how these pennies will come out of the dirt. Yeah, that makes predecimal number 2 for the day. Hopefully I might find me some silvers if I'm super lucky. Yeah, let's keep going. Okay viewers, just at the nature strip now. Just dug me a key, probably a house key of some sort. Alright, see you next target. Okay viewers, found some old plate thing. I believe this is to secure a tube or maybe a pole or something, and it bolts onto a wall of some sort maybe, or some sort of flat surface, or it could be some part of an automobile, I don't know. Alright, see you next target. Okay viewers, not far from where I found that last target, just spotted an old orchie bong, probably made by some adventurous teenager wanting to get high, I suppose. Yeah, made of a, I guess an olive oil bottle of some sort, or oil bottle I think, judging by the colour of the lid thingo. And rubber hose, I'm guessing, and it's just taped on there. Very hatchet job. Alright, see you next target. Hey viewers, found another, I'm assuming, old automobile part. I don't no idea exactly what these are. I'm going to take a photograph and upload it and see if I can get some kind of ID on it. Oh yeah, I assume it's from an old car. See you next target. Alright viewers, found me another penny. It rang up pretty high, so I'm assuming it's going to be a rue penny of sorts. I'll give it a clean up and see if I can get an ID on it. So I can't really see shit at the moment. Alright. Hey viewers, cleaned up the coin as best as I could. Yeah, it took me a while to figure out what this is because it just I wasn't seeing any distinct indicators, but it's definitely a rue penny. I can now just see the kangaroo. Very, very bloody toasted. And the date is 1950 something. So I think it could be a 1953 maybe, I don't know. Can't exactly make out the last digit, maybe a 52, but I can make out a 5 as a third digit. Anyway, yeah, when I was cleaning this coin, I was thinking, ooh, I can see Arabian style hieroglyphs, but then yeah, I cleaned it further and it turns out to be just a average rue penny that's been extremely toasted. Yeah, this soil is certainly not kind to copper coins. Some soils you find copper coins in pretty nice shape, other soils you find copper coins in this state which is extremely poor. Alright, see you next target. Okay viewers, just found an old Coca-Cola can from the early 70s with the slogan, "The Real Thing." So that dates around the early 1970s, I know. Found a few of these cans in my years of hunting. Unfortunately, none of them in the best of condition. Anyway, it's got the old ring pull top. Alright, see you next target. Alright viewers, found my fourth predecimal, another rue penny. This one dates 1940 something. I think it could be 1940. Gave a low number, so yeah, the early rue pennies give low numbers. The later rue pennies give higher numbers. Like this one rang about 20 to 22. The higher rue pennies ring like up in the late 20s and even early 30s. Oh yeah, pity it's all corroded, but yeah, it's just soil for you. Alright, cool, see you next one. Alright viewers, found me another rue penny. This is the fifth predeci find for the day. Not sure of the date of it. So that's George VI, so it's any time be it 1952 or earlier. This rang up pretty high, so it'd be one of the later rue pennies, probably very early 50s, my guess. or late 40s. Yeah, cool. 5 predecimals today. That's pretty rare these days, finding that many predecies in one day in the same area. Alright, see you next one. Hey viewers, found this large metal, I don't know, cap, hood, whatever you want to call it. Don't know what it is, what it was used for. Could even be a pot for all I know. Yeah. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, just found me a halfpenny halfpenny. Trying to work out the monarch. Looks like young Lizzie. So it'll be post 1952. So it'll be anywhere between 1953 to, it looks like 1960. Can just kind of make out the date. So I'm going to take a guess this is a 1960 Rue halfpenny. Yeah, cool. 6 predecimal of the day. Going to be heading off now. It's getting quite dark. Anyway, I'll work my way back to the car. See you next one. Okay viewers, found remnants, I think maybe of a toy gun. It's hard to say. Does kind of look like it. Yeah, it's okay, yeah, it is definitely remnants of a toy gun. It's a pity it's came out in that condition. Would have been nice if I found it all totally intact. Looks to be, it says Surefire. I'll find that. I reckon I'll find this ID's gun on Google easy. But yeah, I think I've heard the word Surefire with toy cap guns before. Yeah, really cool find, but pity it's all broken up. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, found this sort of like domed disc thing, and it's got a bunch of numbers and letters on it, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if this could possibly be I wonder if this could, I'm kind of thinking along the lines of maybe a military tag, but there's no holes for people to wear it as a military tag. But yeah, it's pretty much like a domed disc thing with numbers and letters in it. I'll have to look that up if these are anything specific. Alright, see you next one. Alright viewers, it's a few days later and I'm just hunting down at a local beach rock pool. And yeah, first decent target, I found me a rue penny. That's pretty cool. Pity it's all worn down the buggery, but still, it's cool. I found that my first coin finds a predeci. This rock pool's been here since I think before the 30s, or at least the 1930s. It's definitely here on the 1938 era of photography. So it would have been put here sometime 30s or earlier. So yeah, I was pretty much expecting that I may find some old coins here, and I have. Alright, gonna keep hunting around here, see what else I'm gonna find. See you next one. Okay viewers, first modern spendable piece of cash today, 5 cents. Back in my day, the early 1990s, this could easily get you a couple of bags of lollies, or at least one bag anyhow. Anyway, now this is about as worthless as a brass razoo. Alrighty, that's our next target. Okay viewers, another coin find. Brown bugger this time. 2 cents. Kind of looks, I think it kind of, I thought it might have been a foreign one, but it's just the average Australian 2 cent. I thought it might have been a Fijian or a New Zealand one. Anyway, just a boring old Australian brown bugger. See you next one. Hey viewers, found what I believe is a rotary knob that's probably off an old, maybe an old brownie camera. So it looks kind of a little bit along the lines of that. So I've got a bunch of box type film cameras at home, so that's my educated guess on what this could be. Oh, it's just, if not that, it's a turn wheel off some kind of device. Who knows what it'd be. Yeah, interesting find. See you next one. There viewers, another brown bugger, another 2-cent piece. This one's pretty much worn to almost paper thin. Well, not quite there, but pretty worn. Alright, see you next target. There viewers, another brown bugger, 1 cent this time. Apart from a little bit of muck, all nice and shiny. And well worn. Alright, 1 cent piece. See you next one. There you go viewers. Found a tiny little bullet. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, moved on now, a little bit south of the rock pool. Just pulled out a very worn out brown bugger, another 1 cent piece. It's just underneath that rock there. Alright, see you next one. Alright viewers, I'm sort of heading further south on this beach. Just found a butterfly pendant or dragonfly pendant, one of the two. Looks to be junk jewelry, but still, it's a cool find. Not really finding anything else around here. Just nothing but bloody molten slag. Anyway, I'm just going to hunt up to those cliffs and then I'm going to work my way back. And afterwards I'll just call it a day. Alright, see you next target. Alright viewers, found another piece of junk jewelry. Looks like some kind of leaf. Not a bad find. See you next target. Okay viewers, getting near to the southern cliff area of this beach. Just found a cream tube top. Looks pretty old, I dare say around the 60s maybe. Yeah, haven't really, apart from those ornate pieces of junk jewelry, haven't really found anything else apart from bits of metal slag, which is kind of annoying. Yeah, smelling a bit of sewage too, here and there when I'm heading down this way. Yeah, just hope there's no bloody sewage outfall into the ocean nearby. There was a sewage works there that's allegedly closed down years ago, but maybe they've opened again, I don't know. Anyway, just going to work my way up to the cliff and then start heading my way back. See you next one. Hey viewers, found a bullet, another one. This one a little bigger than the last. It's wedged in a crevice there. Alright, see you next one. Hey viewers, found some kind of, I don't know if this is a rivet or something. Anyway, it was in that crevice there. No idea exactly what this is. Could be a rivet, a hot rivet or something. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, found a paper thin brown bugger, 1 cent piece. It's saying it's paper thin. Found in the crevice down there. Been there for many years, I'd say. Alright, see you next one. There you go viewers, it's about 4 days later I think, since my last hunt, and I'm just hunting along some rocky headland area in my region. Yeah, thought I'd give this area a go. Haven't really found anything much, but it's my first video worthy find. A fishing lure. Found this crevice down here. Yeah, I don't fish, so it's not of no use to me. I'll give it to my good mate John, who I used to hunt with a lot. He'll find some good use for it. Yeah, it's kind of a cool find. So that hook just needs a bit of a clean up and should be good to go. Alright, see you next target. Okay viewers, found an old bullet head. Initially I thought it was a sinker when I looked at it. I thought it was one of those bean sinkers, but it turns out to be an old bullet. Like a really old bullet. It could be like an old Henry Martini round. Because that gun used bullets like this. Yeah, I found a lot of these up in a certain park in Sydney in the past. I found them by the bucket load. Yeah, one of the more interesting finds, especially given the fact that it looks to be quite old. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, just found my first coin find of the day. I initially thought it could be a threepence, but unfortunately it looks too coppery to be a threepence. It's about the size of a threepence though. But yeah, anyway, I reckon it's a 1 cent piece that's been worn a buggery from the salt water. Alright, see you next one. Alright viewers, on my way back now. It's getting on sunset. Just found me another bullet. Probably another Henry Martini round. And it's got the chevrons in it. Apart from a few dents, it's in pretty good shape. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, it's over a week later and I'm just hunting a kind of a small reserve next to some apartment blocks that's near Wollongong coastline. Yeah, I know this reserve was here back in all the way back in the day, like dating back to God knows when. Anyway, no predecimals so far. I've hunted here for about, I don't know, 20 minutes, half an hour. But I have found me a $2 coin finally, so I'm pretty happy about that. Hopefully I might find a few more of these about. Anyway, hopefully I might be able to find a predeci at some point in this reserve. That'd be good too. Alright, see how we go. See you next target. Okay viewers, second coin find of the day, brown bugger, 2 cent piece. Yeah, not doing too well here. One best finds, one $2 coin, and it's a coin find, brown bugger. Yeah, I figure this place must have been picked clean years ago by other detectorists and all that. But I'm still got a little bit to go. I'm just zigzagging up, just seeing if there's anything good here. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, found another goldie, $1 this time, so I'm now $3 richer. Cool. I'm pretty much almost finishing up this reserve land area, not really finding anything. Alright, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, I've moved on to another park now near the coast. Yeah, I've just dug myself a silver ring, sterling silver. Yeah, I've got a high 2930 and this baby popped out. I've no doubt this is sterling silver. Nice and chunky too. Beautiful. First silver find in ages. I haven't found anything silver in several months. Whoop, dropped it. Yeah, that's really cool. Quite an interesting ring design too. Alright, beautiful. See our next target. Alrighty viewers, found me another goldie, $2 this time. So I'm now $5 richer. Beaut, awesome. See our next target. Alrighty viewers, I think we're in for a coin spill here, because where I pull that $2 coin, getting another 22, 23 signal. I think we might have another goldie in there. I reckon we'll find a $1 coin, or maybe even a $2 coin, who knows. But I'd put my bets it's going to be a $1 coin. Oh, there's, I'm not getting onto it. Let's see. Okay, it's in there. Don't normally do live digs, but I'll make an exception on this one. Live digs are a pain in the ass. Unless you've got a tripod for your camera. There we go. $1 how's that? So yeah, now $6 richer. Wonder if there's any more. Anyway, I'm just going to swing over this area. If there's any more, I'll film it. See you next one. Alrighty viewers, another goldie. How's that? Now we're up $2 and I'm now $8 richer. Will I hit $10 today? Hope so. Yeah, looks like I'm going to find a few goldies about here. This place hasn't been hit for quite a while. Alrighty, see you next target. Alrighty viewers, I've just found me a florin. Beautiful. First predeci of the day, and it's the most high valued one. Wow. I don't think I've found a florin in since probably sometime last year. So yeah, I've not found any this year, and this until now. Anyway, it's a 1953, the later type, that are 50% silver, and it has a very young Queen Elizabeth on the back. Yeah, it's tarnished of course, but I can easily clean all that up. I reckon it'll shine up very nicely because it's in pretty decent shape. Anyway, beautiful. 1953, 50% silver florin. See you next target. Alrighty viewers, another goldie, $2, and I've now hit the $10 mark. Beautiful. So I'm glad I've achieved that goal. Let's see how much more I can find. See you in the next one. Alrighty viewers, second silver coin of the day. Second predecimal too. 1944 sterling silver threepence. With Georgie VI in the back. Fantastic. Yeah, I had a good feeling about this park. I've had it here before and not really found a lot, but now I've got my Equinox 800 hunting this area. I'm finding what I've missed with my other detectors. Anyway, that's really cool. I had to go. This sort of like, well, the signal's kind of on the faint side. I would have easily overlooked it if I went too fast, but yeah, I need to go slow along this park, and yeah, I reckon I'll find some more goodies like this. Anyhow, this is what I'm after. See you in the next one. Alrighty viewers, I'm really lucking out in the silver today. Found me a 1951 threepence. So this is a 50% silver. It's post 1945 era. Anyway, yeah, I was getting like a sketchy 16 signal, and I was sort of thinking of bypassing it because so I was probably going to get a ring pull, but I thought, what the heck, dig it anyway, and out popped this little baby. So yeah, that's really cool. 3 silvers today and $10 worth of spendables. Fantastic. See you in the next one. Alrighty viewers, this is been pretty much my day in terms of good finds. Not far from that thrip, found myself a ram's head shilling, 1952, 50% silver type. Yeah, nearly got the full house of silvers. Just need to find me a sixpence and I've achieved full house status. Normally when I get close to full house, the most elusive coin is the shilling, because the shillings are, as far as I know, the least minted coins out of all the silver coin series. But anyway, so yeah, it's much rarer to find a shilling than to find a florin even. Anyway, it's really cool to find one. Ram's Head shilling 52. See you on the next target. Alrighty viewers, another threepence. Now this one's, yeah, worn to buggery. I got no idea of what type of threepence it is, but I have a feeling it's an Old English from the 19th century that's just literally pretty much worn flat. There's just no, I just can't find any indications of what type of thrip this is, but my guess is it's from the 19th century and it's, yeah, worn to buggery. It's how these really early silver coins come out sometimes, when they've just been well circulated. Anyway, that is a really cool find either ways. Alright, so next one. Okay viewers, got a nice 29 signal and it was pretty deep, and yeah, because I was having such a good run of luck with silvers, I was hoping it'd be a shilling or something. Turns out to be a bloody brown bugger. A deep 2-cent piece. Then you can't have your expectations too high all the time. Oh, can't win them all. See you next one. Okay viewers, got a sketchy signal, thought I'd dig it anyway. Found what looks like to be an offcut of a pipe. Not much, but I mean, you could wear it like a ring pretty much if you like. I could just shine it all up and clean it all up and polish it up or whatever and turn it into a ring. So it does pretty much fit like a ring. Anyway, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, I found a piece of sterling silver jewellery here. I thought this was like some zip tag or something, but I looked on the back and it says 925 sterling silver, 15 grams. So yeah, I doubt this is a zip tag. I mean, it could be, but I'm putting money on it. It's one of those tiny little pendant things, or it could be a zip tag of the more expensive kind maybe. But either way, even if it is, it's sterling silver, so I'm really happy about that. I'm trying to work out what that pattern is. That's some kind of, I'm not sure what that is. It's some kind of picture of something. Anyway, beautiful. See you next one. Alrighty viewers, just found me a $2 coin, now 12 bucks richer. That's really cool. Keep those goldies rolling. See you next target. Okay viewers, another brown bugger, 1 cent this time. That was a bloody deep one too. That would have been at least 15 centimeters down. And I've been finding all the silver predecimal coins in shallower ground. That was like, it's towards the edge of the park, so I guess, yeah, there's less topsoil down there than there is over here, so that would explain it, I suppose. Alright, cool. Yeah. Brown bugger. Yeah, whatever. See you next one. Alrighty viewers, I found myself a really early thrip. 1927 sterling silver threepence. So this makes my 6th silver coin I found today. As see through the muck, King George V on the back. Beautiful. See you on the next one. Okay viewers, another brown bugger, 1 cent, found deep as well. Yeah, the further I get up, the more I find deep brown buggers. So yeah, it's definitely, yeah, at the bottom ends it's not so topsoiled, and the upper areas more topsoiled. Alright, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, I've just found myself another Ram's Head shilling, 1957 one this time, with young Lizzie on the back. Beautiful. So I'm now 7 silver coins in. Yeah, I can't believe my mates who I know have flogged many parks have managed to miss these. Anyway, see you in the next one. Alrighty viewers, I found an old half penny. I reckon this is going to be an old English because it's rang up at 17. And I know that halfpennies, half pennies, how you want to call them, of that era ring up at that level because they're made of bronze. So I'm going to give this a clean and confirm it is an old English. I can see what looks to be near the middle. I'm going to suspect that this is a 1900s King Edward VII halfpenny. Just by that ear alone, I can pretty much tell it's likely to be that. So I'm going to clean this up and I'll get back to you on what it is. Alrighty viewers, it's definitely an old English and I've given it a clean, and it's actually Valehead Queen Victoria. So this coin will date anywhere between 1895 and 1901. The date is, unfortunately, the coin's that corroded, that are toasted, that I can't seem to get a date on it. But it'll be anywhere between 1895 and 1901. How's that? So it looks like I've cracked the 1800s now. Beautiful. See you in the next one. Okay viewers, found some part of an old plate of some sort. I just found I found a piece of this, I believe the same plate earlier on, just over there a little bit, but anyway, I didn't bother filming as I didn't think it was anything significant, but found another piece and I thought, okay, maybe I should film it. Yeah, it says something, I'm assuming it's going to say playmate. I don't know what the top word says, but, and it says something straight, Abston straight, or there'll be some letters before that. Anyway, interesting find. See you next one. Alright viewers, it's 2 days later since my last hunt, and I'm back at the same park again where I've been finding all those fabulous silver coins. Anyway, I've not been here even 5 minutes and I've just found myself a 1942 Rue penny. So that's really good. Yeah, I'm going to pretty much stick to the edges of the park because that's where I've been finding all the old coins. The upper areas of the park are too topsoiled and I'm just finding deep 1 and 2 cent pieces. Anyway, cool. Hopefully I'll find a lot more predecials this afternoon like I did the other day. See you next target. Alright viewers, first Goldie find of the day, $2. That's really cool. Hopefully I'll find plenty more of these and make some instant cash. Yeah, I think I found like at least $9 here on my last hunt. Yeah, cool. See you next one. Alright viewers, second predecimal of the day, 1950 Rue penny. So that's found not too far from where I found that 42 Rue. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Alright, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, found another $2, now $4 richer. See you next target. Okay viewers, first brown bugger find of the day, 2 cent piece. Bring up pretty much high like the big pennies I've been finding. Thought this was going to be a penny or maybe a shilling or something. Oh well. See you next one. Okay viewers, found a piece of lead which looks to be shaped into a tree. So it looks like it's been painted green too. So yeah, I dare say this is a a lead moulded tree. Yeah, cool find. See you next one. Alright viewers, another goldie, $1 this time, now $5 richer. Doing pretty good already. Cool, see you next one. Yeah viewers, got a deep find here, although not too old. I've got a old Shelley's bottle cap dating from, I assume, the 60s, judging by the look of it. And it's Shelley's Passion Fruit Delight. Alright, cool. Nice looking cap. Pity it's in bad shape. Well, I'm pretty sure I can bend it back out again, although it's still not going to look all that great. Anyway, still a cool find. See you next one. Alright viewers, another goldie, $6. Beautiful. I'm actually surprised I've not yet found any 20 or 50 cent pieces or the lower value coins. Well, my detectors discriminates too high for 5 and 10s, but no 20s and 50 cent pieces yet, which is kind of strange. But I'm not complaining, I like finding goldies. Anyway, see you next one. Alright viewers, found my third predecimal coin today. A 1951 Rue Halfpenny with Georgie the Sixth on the back. Now it's down pretty deep, and also along with the halfpenny I got a piece of coke. Yeah, I thought I was going to get another predeci coin, but this bloody thing came out instead. Anyway, that's pretty good. 3 predecis today. See you on the next target. Alrighty viewers, found me another $2. So I'm now $8 richer. I wonder if I'll hit $10 today. There's a good chance I will. Finding quite a few goldies around this little park. Anyway, see you next one. Alright viewers, found me a vintage Pepsi Cola cap. Yeah, I think this will date sometime in the 1960s, I think. But yeah, it's quite a nice cap, although unfortunately not in very good condition because it's folded over, and I can bend it back and all, but yeah, it's still pretty ruddy. But yeah, no, I like finding these old Pepsi Cola caps. Which is a pity I haven't found one yet that's in really good shape. Anyway, cool find. See you next one. Alright viewers, another goldie, $1. Now up to $9. Need one more dollar and I'll make $10. Hopefully I'll find it. See you next one. Alrighty viewers, first silver predecimal find today and the 4th predeci find of the day. A 1922 threepence, nice and early, beautiful. Certainly worn though, but hey, really happy to find this. Alrighty, see you in the next one. Okay viewers, second brown bugger find of the day, 1 cent. I'm now full house with brown buggers. See you next one. Alrighty viewers, I've cracked the $10 mark. As a matter of fact, I've surpassed it. Found me another goldie, $2. So I'm now $11 richer. Beautiful. See you next one. Alrighty viewers, found me another goldie, $1 this time. Now $12 richer today. Cool, keep them coming. See you next one. Alrighty viewers, nearby another goldie, pretty much literally within a few feet. So I'm now $13 richer. Cool. I'm just hunting around this bench seat here. I reckon I might possibly find a few more, hopefully. Alright, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, another goldie, now $14 richer. Pity this one's copped a few bangs to it by the council mower. and it's also very corroded, so hopefully I can bring it back somehow. Yeah, cool. See you next one. Alright viewers, another Goldie. Now up to $16. How's that? Wonder if I'll crack $20 today. Alright, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, I've now made 17 bucks. Another Goldie. Keep them coming. Alright viewers, found a 1960s era Shelley's green lime flavour bottle cap. I reckon I can bend this out and it'll probably look okay. Alright, not a bad find. See you next one. Alright viewers, another Goldie. $1. Now 18 bucks richer. Probably going to have to head off soon because it's 7:45 and yeah, dinner will be ready within the next, I don't know, 45 minutes. Alright, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, another predecimal. 1940, I think it's a 1947 Rue Halfpenny. With George on the back, George VI. Yeah, it's a bit hard to tell the date, the last digit of the date, but it's could be 1943 even. Be either 43, 47 or 41. I'm betting 1947. Yeah, cool find. See you next one. Alrighty viewers, I've now cracked the $20 mark. Found me another Goldie, $2. So that makes $20. Beautiful. I was hoping to just crack the $10 mark today, but no, I found 20 bucks. Nice. Alrighty. Almost ready to head off. Just do a few more swings up around this park and then I'll call it a day. See you next one. Okay viewers, it's a couple of days later and I'm onto my favourite south coast bay town. Yeah, this area I've I found quite a few early coins, relics and all that dating back to the 9th century. So yeah, I'm here for another round. Hopefully I'll strike lucky once again. Anyhow, first kind of interesting target, well literally the first target here. I don't know what this is, but could be a wheel off a toy vehicle or something, I don't know. Kind of doubt it though, but looks like it's a copper ring of sorts and it's got like a steel axle or something. Don't know what it is, but anyway, kind of interesting. Alright, well anyway, let's see how we go. See you next target. Hey viewers, this is quite a sight. Whole bunch of grubs over here. They look around about as large as witchetty grubs, but they're not exactly witchetty grubs. Oh, unless they may be a certain species of them, but I know them to be white, the witchetty grubs, but yeah. Some kind of, oh no, there could be caterpillars too. Actually, no, either grubs or caterpillars, I'm not real sure. Anyway. I'll just upload the image to Google and get Google AI to identify them. Hey viewers, identify these little critters. They're actually sawfly larvae. And they pretty much morph into sawflies. I think they're also known as spitfires. Anyway, let's keep on going. Okay viewers, first coin find of the day, just a boring 1 cent piece. Brown bugger. No bugger. Anyway, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, first goldie find of the day, $2. Cool. I hope I keep finding more of these. Anyway, not really doing too well luck wise. I just had it in those grounds there, which I reckon I should have found stuff, but didn't find a brass Brazil in there. Found dog shit nothing, pretty much. Barely got even a signal. Anyway, yeah, I've been over this area, this whole area several times, so probably found most of the good stuff, but you never know. Alright, let's carry on. Okay viewers, because I'm strapped for content today, I thought I'd just film some of the junk finds. Got a nice 30 signal. It was shallow as fuck, so I figured, yeah, it can't be anything all that good, and I was right. Just a nut. Hopefully it might be able to fit some more big bolts. If that's the case, I can use it, otherwise it's just scrap metal. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, another brown bugger, another 1 cent piece. Yeah, this was pretty much on the surface. How I missed this, I don't know. Yeah, goes to show there's still stuff to be found. Anyway, see you on the next target. Okay viewers, looks like I'm just hitting on brown buggers today most of the time. Another 1 cent piece. Anyway, see you next one. Alright viewers, another goldie, $2. Now $4 richer. See you next one. Alright viewers, now in the parking lot where I've found quite a few old coins and relics, including that broad axe head that I found about 4 odd years back. Anyway, just found me an old belt buckle, which is pretty cool. Alright, see you next one. Hey viewers, found an old button. Don't know if it's a really old one or not. Probably isn't, but anyway. Looks old enough, I guess. I'd say it's over 50 years old at the very least. Alright, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, first really cool find of the day. A ring. It's a junk ring because its ring's too long to be silver for starters. And it's certainly not gold because gold doesn't tarnish like that. So it's a junk ring, but it's still a pretty cool find. So this is probably a costume ring or something along those lines. Quite like the stone that's inside. Has kind of a, I don't know, a wood grain kind of look to it. But yeah, obviously fake, but still, it's kind of it's a pretty cool find anyhow. Alright, see you in the next one. Hey viewers, found this doodad. Don't know if it's like a pull button thingy or what that attaches to a rod and you just pull it and it operates something or push something, and I don't know what it is, but nothing that's not really anything that special, but anyways, thought I'd film it anyhow. See you next one. Hey viewers, found this doodad thing. Looks like something a lot older, kind of interesting. Probably a knob on a small tiny little drawer or something maybe. or something that you pull to open. Alright, see you next one. There viewers, another 1 cent piece. Seem to be hitting on mostly these today for coins. Oh, hopefully I'll hit on some predeci soon. Anyway, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, we've got a goldie sunbaker down here. How cool's that? Now $6 richer. See you in the next one. Alright viewers, just into the dirt here, looks like we got ourselves a buck. Right, not far from that sunbaker goldie, $2. Alright, yep, $1. I'd say it's probably been dropped by the same person by accident. Cool. $7 richer now. See you in the next one. Alrighty viewers, I found a pretty cool looking relic here. Yeah, just near the road there. Found this, what I believe is a saw medallion. I think this came from a wood saw, I believe. So I found something like this very early last year locally, and it turned out to be a saw medallion. This is likely to be a saw medallion as well. Looks like it's got an eagle in the middle and it's got some printing there. Just trying to read what it says. Warranted superior, I think. Warranted D. Yeah, I think that's what it says. Or warranted superior. Yeah, I'm going to take a photo, upload it to Google and see if I can get some ID on it. But yeah, that's a really cool find. Best find of the day, as a matter of fact. Not really finding much. Probably found most of the good stuff here. Alrighty. I'll get back to you if I can get some ID on this, otherwise see you next target. Okay viewers, Google image searched it. It initially came up with AI initially identified it as a police button, but it's not the case. I typed in saw medallion and it came up with similar examples. So it's definitely a saw medallion. I think it's made by Distant Saws or something. I haven't found an exact match, but I've found similar ones that says warranted superior. Anyway, so this saw medallion would date somewhere between, I'm guessing, the late 19th century or early 20th century. Anyway, that's a really cool find. Happy with that. See you in the next one. Okay viewers, I've moved on now to the town's sports ground. Yeah, I haven't given this area a go at all. I'm not going to be hunting on the sports ground because I don't want to dig that up. I'm just going to be hunting the outside of the sports ground where the car park is. Anyhow, very first target, brown bugger. So that means, yeah, there's potential to find some good stuff. It's not completely cleaned out. Also got this weird thing on the ground here. No idea what this is. Anyway, I might as well bag it. Alright, well, going to give this car park area a go, and the outside over there, I think there's a tennis court over there. I'll hunt over there as well. Alright, so there we go. There viewers, found another brown bugger, 2 cent. So I've now a full house of brown buggers in this near the sports field, the car park. Alright, see you next one. There viewers, found me another brown bugger. It's just the bane of all. It's pretty much the bane for us Aussie metal detectorists when it comes to coins. These things ring up nice and high like predecis and goldies and all that. Alright, see you next one anyway. Okay viewers, another brown bugger, 2 cent this time. If this keeps up, I'm going to stop filming them because they're just, I got a feeling I'm going to find a shit ton of them around here. Alright, film a few more, then I'm just going to stop filming them. See you next one. Lo and behold viewers, another brown bugger, 1 cent. One silver lining to this is at least this park has not been picked clean, otherwise these would have been gone as well. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, looks like we've got a sunbaker here, brown bugger sunbaker that is, and it's, no, this is different. Now finally I found something that's really exciting. It's a brown bugger of sorts, but it's foreign. It's probably a British brown bugger. As this coin is so toasted, I can only make it a crown and some kind of what looks like lattice or building structure. Anyway, this is a really cool find. I'm going to take a photo and get good old trusty Google AI to identify it. Anyway, beautiful. I'll get back to you in a minute on what it is. Okay viewers, it's definitely a British brown bugger. It's called a new penny. It's a British new penny. It's probably from sometime in the 70s, I'm guessing. 70s, 80s, around that period. See if I can get a date on it. It's just so toasted. Date will probably be at the front. If so, it's probably going to be pretty impossible to work it out. Anyway, I'd say 70s, 80s period. Anyway, that's a really cool find. See you in the next one. Okay viewers, back to the ordinary brown buggers. Another 1 cent. I'm going to make this my last Aussie brown bugger find. If I find any foreign brown buggers, I will definitely film those, but these, I'm not going to bother filming anymore. Alright, see you in the next one. Alrighty viewers, found me a goldie, $2. I'm now $9 richer. Cool, hope I'll find more of these. See you next one. Alright viewers, one of my more unusual finds. Just found me a splat hand. It's one of those jelly stick type hands that you just swing around and it's sort of like splats on a surface and it sticks to it. Yeah, these things take me back to my childhood from the late 80s, early 90s period. These were quite popular and it looks like they're still quite popular too. Doubt this has been here all that long. Well, it's been here probably for a little while. Anyways, this brings back childhood memories. Splat hand. Alrighty, see you in the next one. Hey viewers, found a square nail. They're pretty old. Date back to the 19th century, these things. Yeah, it's been a while since I found one. Alright, see you next one. Alrighty viewers, I've just found an ornate looking relic. Looks pretty nice. I don't know exactly what this is. It could be a brooch maybe, but kind of a little bit heavy and chunky to be a brooch. It could be something a lot, you know, it could be like an ornate emblem that goes with furniture, or it could even be a car, could even connect to a car, I don't know. I'll see if Google AI can provide answers. Okay viewers, Google AI hasn't given me a clear-cut answer, but it's looking to be a piece of furniture embellishment. So it's an ornate decorative piece that will go on furniture most likely. Yeah, that's a really cool find. See you in the next one. Okay viewers, found some peculiar looking doodad. Not sure what this is off, but it's kind of interesting. Could be some lever button maybe. Press down and this lever's something. Don't know. Anyway, see you next one. Alright viewers, found me a 50-cent piece. I think I'm about $9.50 richer now. Need 50 more cents and I've cracked the $10 mark. Alright, see you next one. Alright viewers, I've just found an old toy chinook helicopter. That is actually one of the coolest finds of today, next to that medallion and that furniture embellishment. Yeah, I've found plenty of toy cars, but never something like this. I can imagine this was probably made between the 60s and the 80s. That's my guess. Yeah, that's a really cool find. Toy Chinook helicopter. See you in the next one. Alrighty viewers, just found my first predecimal coin of the day. Sadly it's in extremely poor shape. It's a rue penny. I read on the back says George VI, so it'd be like late 30s to early 50s rue penny. Looks like it's been either punched or hit with a bullet. As you've got an indent there, it's poking right through. I dare say someone used this for target practice and yeah, shot it. Anyway, good to find a predeci finally. Alright, see you next target. Alrighty viewers, I've cracked the $10 mark now. Just found me a $2 coin, so I'm now $11.50 richer. See you on the next target. Okay viewers, found me a 20-cent piece. I'm now $11.70 richer. See you on the next target. Alright viewers, down the field here we've got our kangaroo. And some kids further to the right sort of playing cricket, but they're going to probably scare it off. Anyway, yeah, thought I'd film the roo. See you in the next one. Hey viewers, found the obligatory key. It's probably a locker key or something. Alright, see you next one. Okay viewers, gonna call it a day now. This is pretty much the final hunt of the year. And yeah, I'm gonna be finishing up with a wrap up video once I get all my stuff cleaned up, and yeah, see you in the wrap up. And Happy New Year. Okay viewers, here's a wrap up of many hunts I've done between late November and the end of December. Yeah, it started off as kind of slow, not finding much, but as soon as I hit on a certain park, there's actually a couple of locations I started really raking in the predecimals. I hunted an old house site which yielded a good several pennies and half pennies, and then I hit on a certain park in my city, and wow, was I finding predecis, and including many silver coins. So that is absolutely magnificent. So yeah, the other sites I've hunted, yeah, was I mean, I found a predecimal down the beach as well, which wasn't bad, and I found a predecimal on my last hunt down the coast. But yeah, found quite a lot of predecimals this time, and found quite a lot of goldies. So yeah, I've made quite a bit of money as well, and found some really cool relics. Alright, let's get into my finds. So start with the predecis. I've found two Victorian era coins. I'm going to assume that, I can safely assume that threepence is a Victorian era. Usually silver coins, when they've been in circulation for decades, say they pretty much wear down to buggery. You pretty much lose all detail what's on the coin. So I've got no detail, but I'm going to assume that's a Victorian. This is definitely a Victorian halfpenny, and it dates 1899. I've worked out the date. I can just make the date out. Just got to see if I've got it positioned right. It's hard to say. Yeah, it's hard to get the position on it. It's just, well, the easiest way to tell is look at Victoria's veil head. There we go. So the date's down there. I can make out the first 3 digits, which is 18.9, and the last digit looks more like a 9 than an 8, so it's 18.99. Don't think you can really see it on the video. It's just real. I had to literally look at this through my monocle to see the date. Anyway, move on. So yeah, I found a lot of predecimal coppers. Got halfpennies here. That one's an unknown date. Some of them are so toasted. Pretty much most of them are toasted, but some of them are toasted to the point I just can't see dates no matter what. So unknown, 1941. Oh, I've got to try and get this to focus. 1947, 1951. Then we've got one Commonwealth penny dated 1912. Got quite a few pennies with unknown dates. Yep, 4 of them have got unknown dates. That one dates 1940 something, that one dates 1942, that one dates 1950. So tallying up, I've got 4 halfpennies, 2, 4, 6, 8 pennies. Now to the silvers, the Australian silvers. Got a 1922 and 1927 Union Jack threepences, 1944 and 1951 weight threepences. Surprisingly, I got no sixpences. Normally I'll get sixpences and florins and no shillings, because shillings were the least minted predecimal silver coin. Anyway, but I was fortunate to strike 2 shillings, dated 1952 and 1957, and 1 1953 florin. Well, most of these predecimals pretty much came from one park. Anyway, so yeah, I've got a total of 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 silvers, and they were all from the same park. Total of predecies I found 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21 predecimals. That's pretty much very rare these days, even from like a couple of months of hunting. Anyway, brown buggers, I can't be fucked counting how many I've got. I've got, let's just say I've got shit tons, probably well over 20. I found one English brown bugger, a English new penny. I don't know the date of it. It's probably from the 70s. It'd either be from the 70s or 80s. But yeah, that was a really cool find in terms of brown buggers. Anyway, now found a lot of cash. And mostly from that one park, but I've also found quite a bit of cash when I went down the coast. So let's tally up how many I found, how much money I found. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, $47.75. How's that? That is phenomenal. I haven't found that much cash even on a few months of hunting in years. All right. Anyway, let's move along. Found some silver jewelry and some junk jewelry. So this, I don't know if this is a zip tag or not, but it's got a lion's head on the front, and it's definitely a sterling silver 925, 1.5 grams. That's a really cool find. And found this sterling silver ring. Can't seem to find the hallmark or the 925 stamping, but it rings up high enough to be silver. So I can safely say that's most likely silver. Now it's a pity this is a junk ring, but it is a pretty cool ring. So it's got, yeah, it's pretty much, I guess, a costume ring. It's a pretty cool find. And it's got like some kind of fake stone in there. It looks pretty nice and cool. Alright, found this furniture embellishment. Very stylish and ornate. That's a really cool find. Found some more junk jewelry. I'm guessing they're junk jewelry. It's like a leaf and a butterfly. Now onto the relics. This is the star relic find of my hunts. I guess a late 19th century, early 20th century woodsaw medallion. And it says warrant superior. I think, and from when I looked it up, I think it's associated with distance saws. D-I-S-S-T-O-N, I think that's how it's spelled, for distance saws. But yeah, that was a really cool find. Found a couple of really old belt buckles. These were all found down the coast at my favourite bay town. Found quite a number of bullets. That's probably a homemade sinker, I think. That's a square nail. Found a few interesting bottle caps, mostly Shelley's, lime flavour, passion fruit flavour, Pepsi Cola cap. Yeah, obligatory keys, fishing lure. I don't know what that is, it's just probably nothing. That's probably something off a little pool drawer maybe. Don't even know what this is, but probably something of similar nature. That's a button, probably not that old. Don't know what that is. Got that, found this tag, it says Playmate or something. Found this, some kind of, it's a surge, some kind of surge tag. Don't know what's off. Actually, Bowthorpe, Australia. Oh, it's a surge diverter tag. That's it. Yeah, off a surge diverter. I found these plate thingies that have got numbers stamped into it. Don't know what they're for, but it's kind of interesting. Found remnants of toy surefire cap gun. It's a pity I didn't find the whole gun. That would have been cool. I don't know what that is, but it's got something in the middle that's says, I know it's got this AUST for Australia in the middle. I should have looked at it through my monocle to find out what it is, but anyway, I've got my monocle over here somewhere. I might have a quick squiz. Bear with me. Now it says, I can only make out Cafford, Australia. Cafford, Australia. I don't know what that last word says because of it's part of it's obscured. Anyway, don't know what that's off. That's interesting all the same. Right, I found this interesting plate here. Something to do with erosion, household erosion. Getting back to the toys and all that again. Don't know if this is a toy, but this is a lead tree made of lead and with remnants of green paint on it. Now we've got a toy chinook here. This was a really cool find, made in China. Don't know how old it is, but I'll have to Google that one up. But that is a really, that's kind of like the star find in terms of toy finds. Quite a cool looking chopper. Alright, found a couple of old spoons, a spoon head and a full spoon. Found this thingo. I've found a few of these in the past, I believe. I don't know, I can't remember exactly what they are. Now I found this jar. It's an old jar, pre-1980, as it has the old AGM logo, but no earlier than 1930. Somewhere between 1930 and 1980. I dare say probably 50s to 70s that was made. And lastly, one of my wackiest finds. I found this sticky hand in the driveway near that sports field I hunted down the coast. managed to mostly clean it off. Be cool if I can get all the grime off it and reuse it. It's just a fun toy. I used to have, I remember these when I was a kid back in the late 80s and early 90s. They were all the rage. You get them in show bags and whatnot. They still seem to be pretty popular. So yeah, but I dare say this is probably like an 80s invention, knowing that these were around back then. But yeah, that was a funny, cool find. All right. Well, anyway, that's pretty much about it. Yeah, it was great fun hunting this past month and a bit, especially the park, especially the places that pretty much yield all the really cool stuff. I haven't had such a great hunt like this in a long time. So yeah, this is pretty much my best lot of hunts all year long. Alright, enough me waffling on. Stay tuned for my next metal detecting adventure. This is Troy from the Troy's Visual Arts channel signing out.